Nalin Kohli, again, like I said, the numbers are staggering in and of itself. It also is an indication of how many people from non-NDA parties have voted in favor of the NDA candidate.
So, ultimately, it was a candidature that had merit in it. I mean, of course, we have the numbers with us. It could have been unanimous, but that's okay. It doesn't matter if the Congress and other parties didn't. We would just hope that instead of imploring and giving a directive to the President of India that this is our agenda, so that through the President they can run their political agenda, they would focus in not running her down anymore and stop referring to her as an evil philosophy. So once we move beyond that, I'm sure Indian democracy will prosper.
Do you want to respond to that? I mean, there were unneeded comments, comments like a rubber stamp. One of your fellow colleagues, Supriya, said that she represents an evil philosophy. I mean, running down of a candidate whose very candidature had a certain historicity to it, that didn't help your case either.
No. And Zaka, I would want to correct you on air because the news agency has had to issue a corrigendum. So I would just implore, please do not resort to any WhatsApp forwards on this. ANI that misquoted him has come on record to say Dr. Ajoy Kumar was misquoted. He never said she represents an evil philosophy. He was talking about what the BJP represents. First up, I want to clarify that. Please do not go back to saying those things. I only want to say she's going to be my president as well. Why will I not implore her? Why will I not seek her to actually put an end to, impacting lives and livelihoods of tribals, Adivasis and Dalits all across in forests in India, which the BJP is hell-bent on doing? Why will I not ask my president to look into how a woman is being burnt alive in Madhya Pradesh ruled by the BJP? A tribal woman. I will do that. I have every business to. And I just want to go back to this whole point that, the Congress could have thought about coming on board. No, the Congress could not have. Just like you did not think that K.R. Narayanan should have been India's unanimously elected first Dalit president. Just like you did not think that Srimati Pratibha Patilji should have been unanimously elected India's first female president. What a powerful symbolism that would have been. But you did not choose to because you were competing with an ideology that we stand for, and this is what democracy is all about. I mean, why are we shying away
fair
from
enough.
contest?
Fair enough. I mean, like all the panelists have said, opposition was well within its right to put up a candidate. There are two things. One, could you have put up a better fight, maybe a better candidate? And two, given that the NDA chose this candidate whose election has a historic nature to it, could there have been an attempt to try and see if political divides could have been bridged? But anyway, be that as it may, I want to show two images, if I may, please. Today there were two defining images, and because we live in the world of electronic media and live television pictures, Rasheed, please weigh in on this. The Congress party today hit the streets in a way that, frankly, we haven't seen in the last many weeks and months. Perhaps the last time was when Rahul Gandhi was called for ED questioning, but today they hit the streets for Sonia Gandhi being called for questioning by the Enforcement Directorate. Later in the evening, the BJP hit the streets to celebrate the election of Droupadi Murmu as India's first tribal president. Just talk to us through the contrasting nature of these two pictures. And for me, this encapsulates the politics of our times and perhaps why, one set of politics seems to be able to capture the imagination of the people of this country better than the other.
Yes, Akash, so there is one picture is of, of victory and the other one is of survival. Because remember, the Congress is fighting a very grim battle of survival actually. And the protests, what Congress had planned has more to do with the way Enforcement Directorate has been functioning, where a process becomes a kind of punishment. We do not know whether Rahul Gandhi or Sonia Gandhi they are accused or they are witnesses. So these are the things that would prompt any political party and any person. Zaka, we have discussed this, as per the government admission by the minister in parliament, there were, over 2,500 raids or cases by ED, and the rate of conviction was very little, less than 4% or so. So what about honor and dignity of all those people who were, raided or questioned and then nothing came out? So these are the
look, Rasheed, all I'm saying is, of course, the Congress party has every right to protest, and so they should. As long as it's peaceful, nobody has a problem with it. The only question that's being asked is, I think somebody put this up on Twitter also today, whether Mallikarjun Kharge and Pawan Bansal, who were questioned in this same scam, no one came out to the streets to protest for them. But when Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi are questioned by the Enforcement Directorate in the same case, somehow life comes to a standstill.
Yeah, but that still doesn't, explain the conduct of Enforcement Directorate. Is it is corruption only taking place in among opposition leaders?
Okay.
How is it that everyone who's named in ED for last 2 years or so belongs to the opposition? I'm talking about in the political spectrum.
Okay, fair enough. Abhijit, I mean, this is a familiar charge against this government that they use agencies like the ED, CBI, IT, etc. as veritable arms of.
It's only fair that I'm given some time to speak.
Yeah. Once I'll come to you. I'll come back to you. I'll circle back to you. But
the
Abhijit,
process is for everybody, na? Just like Supriya just said that Narayanan and Pratibha Patil, etc. Fine. I mean, Modi also sat for hours for sit patiently without BJP jumping up and down. They only, Congress people only come out when, when the Gandhis are touched. Kaun hai? Why can't she submit? She has been given enough latitude for COVID. She has to come. This is not some monarchy or something. Everybody, submits themselves to, Amit Shah has, Chidambaram has, Modi has, everybody has.
okay.
Who are the Gandhis to demand this kind of exceptionalism? And why does, Congress this level of fierce protest? We do not see even, on other issues over other leaders. So fine, I mean, if Congress
Mr. Majumder, I think you're overstepping your brief as an analyst here to
just let me finish.
The Congress Party.
Yeah,
I think it's only
30
fair
seconds
and
more.
I
30 seconds
never
more.
interrupted you.
Let him finish, please.
It's
30
only fair
seconds
I'm
more.
giving
I'll
a
come back
choice.
to you,
No, because
Supriya.
I didn't interrupt.
Supriya, 30 seconds more, please. Yeah, Abhijit, finish.
Yeah, so, if the Congress feels that this is the politics that is going to get them forward, best of luck to them. I do not feel, this is terrible optics. This is actually bad politics.
Okay.
And this is the kind of elitism that India has repeatedly rejected and will reject in the future.
Supriya, respond.
There are 36 people in this country who have defaulted on banks of at least 1,000 crore rupees. Today morning's big headline in newspaper. 255 people cumulatively have defaulted nearly 2.5 lakh crore rupees, which is more than the GDP of 87 countries. The BJP, its frontals, the CBI and the ED find no time to question any of these people. The reality is that the ED, the CBI and the income tax have become frontal agencies of the BJP to settle their personal petty political scores. If you are an opposition leader, you will be hounded, fabricated cases will be filed against you, or you will be put behind jail where bail is the norm. If you join the BJP, आप गंगा नहाकर सर्फ से दाग धब्बे धोकर साफ होकर पवित्र होकर भारतीय जनता पार्टी में शामिल हो जाते हैं. हेमंत बिस्व शर्मा, मुकुल रॉय, नारायण राणे, शिंदे, I can go on and on and on. And how these agencies are used to topple democratically elected governments is another debate for another day. So let us not. 1 second.
I'm getting live pictures. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry to